Hey, what's up dudes? Welcome back to another video in the Low Polygon Basics course, where we talk about the basics and fundamentals of game asset creation using Blender, Akitsu, and some other things. Alright, let's get started. Now, typically when you're making a bush or a plant or something like that, you have a flat single plane. It's not going to be like a 3D object like you have here. You wouldn't typically have like a box, for example, right? But we're going to start off with this box, and I'll show you why. And the reason is because we can use loop cuts on this. Okay, so we'll just tab into this. We're going to use loop cuts, so we'll hit Control R, and we're just going to run one loop cut up the center here. So we, hit Control R, left click to drop it in place, and then right click to set it to center. And we're going to do the same thing here. So we just use our scroll wheel, and we'll scroll. We'll do like that many. That's good. We're not going super HD on this. Alright, so Control Tab and we'll select faces, then Z so that we can hit wireframe, and we're just going to hit A to unselect everything, and B so we can use our selector right there to grab all that. We'll just hit delete and faces. Boom. Now we got this face with these, cuts from our loop cut there. Let's go ahead and select these two, hit Alt M, and we're going to say at last, and then we'll merge it at the last, at last. Now, let's go ahead and we don't really need it to be this big, I guess, so we'll just scale it along the X and bring it in a hair. Now I think we do want the bottom to be bigger, right? And so now we're going to just use that, what I said was a Blender trick. It's not really a trick, it's a tool that you should be using. Proportional editing, right? So it's right here. We'll just click it, enable it, and right off the bat we see it's set to what's called smooth. Okay, that's kind of what we want. So what we're going to do here is we're going to hit scale, and I think we're going to scale along the X. Yeah, we are. So if you look at this here, we see how as we drag it out, it starts to affect the vertices above it, right? But it can only go so far based on this circle here. And the way you change this circle is with your scroll wheel. Okay, so what we see here is this effect happening. It gives you this nice bevel, like, smooth contour from one to the next. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just select these, and we're going to scale these out. And as we scroll it, we see how it affects the ones outside of what's selected, right? Which is nice. So we scale that out. We're going to grab these two, and we are going to scale these in like so. I would say, yeah, like that. Let's go back, grab these. We can come up a little. Yeah, kind of like that. Okay. That'll do. Realistically, we don't need to fix this to make it flush, but I'm going to. And the way you can do this real easily is, by pressing N, opening up this N window here. See the Z, right? This is obviously where it's at in Z. Okay, up and down. Click in there, Control C, and then we come over here, select this one, and just paste. Bam, like a boss. Alright, now moving on, we are going to adjust the way that this leaf, or whatever we want to call it, it's my cabbage leaf, we're going to adjust the way it's shaped in the 3D environment. We want to give it kind of like a leafy contour shape. The center stem maybe sticks out or something, I don't know, we'll get there. But the way we'll do that is we'll just kind of select these two verts right here. We'll hit 3 on our number pad to get the side view, and 5 for orthographic. And then we're just going to hit G and then Y, so we can move along that Y. And we'll kind of like mess with the scaling here. And we'll get a little bit like that. Kind of like that. That's good, right? I don't know. What do you say? It's kind of got like a leafy vibe, I guess. But we're being creative, so we'll just roll with it, right? Alright, so now what we need to do is we want to check our mesh analysis. Alright, so we got to press Z to come out of the wireframe to see that. And another thing to note is if you have a modifier on here, right? Your modifiers, you won't be able to see your mesh analysis, so keep that in mind. Alright, and we have our mesh analysis. There's some settings you want here. So you see here, type distortion. That's what you want. There's all different things that you can check here with mesh analysis, right? We want distortion because we know that we move these in an awkward way. Okay, see how they change in color here? That's because that's when those faces are actually planar. Obviously, they are not right now. Red is a bad color in every program you use, so we know that they're not good, right? So what we need to do here is make some micro adjustments. And when you adjust the vertices to affect these planar faces, to make sure that a face is in fact planar, there's a couple ways you can go about it. What we're going to be doing, let's go back, is we are going to correct these on our own, right? And we're starting from the bottom and working our way up. Disable proportional editing, otherwise you start affecting everything. You don't need that. This is just going to be a complete pain, right? Honestly, we don't need these. Let's just merge these. Okay, at last, and Alt-M at last. And now that they're a try, we don't even need to worry about it. And so we can move up from here. Okay, so now we go G and Y, and we're going to move this until we see some color change. And we want the darker shade. Bam. Just like that. And we'll come over here because for some reason these are not perfect. And there we go. Let's see, hopefully these ones are proportionate to each other. And they're not. Yay for us, right? So then we'll grab this one, GY. It should be pretty darn close to it. And again, I'm holding down Shift as I move here. And if you notice, we are on 1 degree, okay? You actually can be on 5 degrees. Look how these get darker. And it'll still be good enough that it looks like a flat face. I like 1 degree because I want it to be good. That's why. So we get that one. And because it's on 1 degree is probably why we're not getting both sides at the same time. Bam. That's good enough. Now what's happened here is we used mesh analysis to check our shape. Okay? We still have the general shape, but when we started moving this around with the proportional editing, we throw some of these planes off, right? So the only reason we're using proportional editing to do this is because we're trying to get this leafy shape, right? And you honestly cannot get this perfect with such small amount of faces, okay? And that's essentially why it's not going to be perfect, and you have to come in here and manually fix this yourself if you want these faces to be flat, right? In this scenario, I want these to be flush and flat faces, okay? What happens is, when you bring this into an engine, it works in tries, okay? And as you can see up here, it says tries 16. It always thinks in tries. Even when you're working in quads like this, the engine's still thinking in tries. So essentially, the way it's understanding your object is like this, right? In tries. So when you bring this into an engine, it's going to cut the tries. And if you don't have these faces on, they're not planar, right? They're not all a flat plane. When it cuts those tries, well, guess what? It's not going to look flat, right? And you want it to look flat. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want to see the tries, right? Maybe you do. And in that case, then you can, cut your tries and do whatever you want there. And typically I like to recommend that if you're going to be, designing something where the tries are very important to you and you want them to look a specific way, then you should be working in tries, right? Otherwise, how do you know how the Unreal Engine's going to cut it? It just has an algorithm, and that algorithm cuts it for you, right? But if you're going to, work in tries and you want tries, cut your tries, work in tries. Typically you want to work in quads all the time, just because you can do things like loop cuts and a lot more subdivision surface and stuff like that, and it actually works. So it's important to work in quads as much as you can. But if, like I was saying, if you want something to have a specific look with tries, then get that look you're going for, then cut it into tries and design it that way. But we want these flat faces right now. Okay, so we're going to just work from here. So we have the beginning of our cabbage, right? Because that's what I'm making, a little cabbage bush. So what we're going to do now is we're going to press 3 on our number pad to get this side view. And if you have something that looks like this, you're not orthographic, so press 5 on that number pad. And if you look here, these are a bit off. I don't like it. So I notice here, we're a little bit off, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to grab these faces here. We're going to delete them. And then we're going to take these ones here. And we're going to, our origin is set here to the center. So what we can do is just go boom. Hit up a mirror modifier, like so, and we're on the X, and we're making sure that we merge, and we apply. Oh, we got a tab out. Apply. And did these all merge? some of them overlapped, and this one actually didn't even touch. Let's see. Grab these two, Alt M at center, and these two, Alt M at center. And is there any other ones causing problems here? No, those are all connected. So now we just need to fix this bottom one. So we'll just go G, Y, and we'll come in. That one's good. These are all actually good. Remember, because we're at 1 degree here, I mean, we are very close. If we go to 5 degrees, which will still appear as a flat surface, we can see they're all good, right? Okay, so now if we hit 3 and we look at it, we see, boom, both sides are lined up, nice and crispy. That's what we want. Okay, so now we're gonna tab out and GZ and move this up, and then G and Y and bring it in to the center here. And our cursor is in the center. If it wasn't, we just hit Shift C, and let's go. And if it throws your view all off, you just go Align View. You could say Align View to Selected, or you could go View, Center View to Cursor. So you could do it like that. Now we have that bottom little tip right where we want it. Okay, so you see our origin points up here. So if we were to rotate, we're rotating on that. No, we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go Control-Shift-C, and we're going to move that origin to the 3D cursor. Now, if we rotate, we're rotating on that point. Look at that. Meow. Then we're going to hit 3, we're going to go back to side view. And we're going to go G to move it, and we're going to move it along the Y, come out a little. Then we're going to hit R to rotate, and X to go along the X. And so now we have that. Now, let's talk about mirroring this. Technically, you can just change this origin point to the center and mirror it over, but it's a little bit easier to create an empty. We're already in object mode. We're going to make sure we're in our object mode. And we hit Shift A, we're going to add an empty plane axis, and it's going to drop it right where the cursor is in the center. And now what we can do is select this object, and without having to move this origin to center, which we're going to have to do anyway, but you know, without recalculating the angle and everything, and because we're going to be using this for multiple different leaves and different angles, we want to have this anyway, right? It makes things easier. So we're going to add a modifier. We're going to say mirror, and we're going to do the empty, right? And so just for making things easier, we can say like bush center, something like that. And so we go here and we see bush center. Now we can just turn off the x-axis, turn on the y, and bam, there we go. Sweet. Okay, so now what we want to do is when we're rotating this origin is going to have to be moved anyway, right? Because if we see, you know, that doesn't work out for what we want to do. So we know our cursor's in the center, but again, if it's not, Shift C. And I hate how the camera does this a lot of times. You can just go Align View and Center View to Cursor, just like that, and scroll back in. And now we're going to go Control-Shift-C and Origin to 3D Cursor, okay? And so it puts our origin there. Now when we rotate, we're rotating based off of that, and that's what we want. So now we're going to hit Shift-D to duplicate that and just right-click out of it to drop it back where it belongs. We're going to turn off our axes mirrors here so that we can see what we're doing, okay? If we scroll up in this N window, if you press N like that, we see the Z. Now we're working on the Z for our rotation. I like to hit R then Z and C here in this window, right here where you see this. Highlight it for you, okay? I like to rotate along it and then make sure I know which direction I'm going, you know, that I'm negative or positive. Okay, obviously that's negative, that's positive. And so we're going to positive 90, so we'll just say 90 in here, and bam, like a boss, we got it. Now we just want to mirror that across the X, and boom. What do you know? Cabbage is coming to life. Now moving on, we're going to make some more cabbagey leaves, and what we want to do here is we're going to Shift D this one, like so, and turn off that axis so it's not in our way, and we're going to go G and X and move it out just a hair. So we'll come down and get a look at how far out we are, and that's probably going to be good. Okay, now as you notice, our origin moved off the center a little. We don't want that because then we're rotating off of the wrong center. So Control-Alt-Shift-C and origin to 3D cursor, and we're going to bring this along the Z, and we see here that we're going positive in that direction, so we want to go to 145 degrees positive, and that is right over yonder. And actually 145 is not really where we want it for these leaves. 135 is looking sweet. So now what we can do is we still have this modifier on here because we duplicated it, and we can just flip it on the X and flip it on the Y. Bam, all around like so. So you could do all kinds of stuff, you know, with this, whatever this thing is we're making right now. You could add like a sweet big flower in the center or something. Like I said, I'm just making a cabbagey type thing. You can make whatever. You know, this is just a general tutorial. It's not about this particular plant. If you're following this tutorial to make a cabbage, then so be it. But if you're just, you know, working on game asset creation and trying to figure out how to make foliage, then this is more generally towards, you know, getting started in that. In later series, we'll get more in depth into making specific things. Continuing on, we will now start to make the innards of it, right? We're going to have to actually change some leaves a little bit. But what we'll do is we'll just continue with these ones we have for now. I think what we'll do is we'll cant them in just a little bit. So the way we'll do that is we'll Shift D to duplicate this one. And now that it's duplicated, we're going to turn off that extra Y there. And we're going to bring it out. And then we'll just we'll A to deselect and just grab all this. And Shift and unclick that if you grab it, like I just did because of the origin point. Then we'll hit H to hide it. Now, we're going to hit 3 to get that side view again. If you're not in orthographic, it looks like this. Hit 5 on your number pad. And then we're going to just bring that GY on the Y and bring it right back here. And honestly, I should have made a copy of this so I don't have to keep doing this. But sometimes I'm lazy. So Control-Shift-C and origin to, not geometry, to 3D cursor. And so now we're back here, and we're just going to hit rotate with R and then X and bring it up a little bit like so. And now that we have that, we can just hit AA, and that selects everything even though we can't see it, and Alt H to unhide the rest of the goods. And then we'll just select this one and GY, bring that out a little bit like so. Yes. I like it. GY, bring it out a little more. That's good. Alright. Now, we can go ahead and flip a Y on this bad boy. Yep. And remember, look, our origin's off, but we're good because we're going off of this thing. Now, we're going to need to create another one. And on this new one, we're going to turn off the axes because it gets annoying. Control-Shift-C and origin to 3D cursor, and we'll just rotate along the Z, and we see we're going to the negative direction there where we want to go, so we'll go -90, like so. And let's GX and bring it out just a hair so it's not colliding with that. Yeah. And now, we don't need to reset the origin on this one, and we'll just go over the X-axis, up here in our modifier, and flip it over. Now, you know what I'm thinking? This would be a cool lily pad. Yeah, it would. Slap a flower in the middle, slap a lily under it. Should we do that? Should we go straight lily with this bad boy? Yeah, I'm thinking we should. We're doing it. We're making a lily pad. Alright, let's Google up a lily pad real quick. So, it's decided. I'm just going to make a lily pad. Alright, so now, what should we do? Let's do this. Let's go Shift Center, make sure we're in the center. We are Shift A. And we are going to add a mesh and cylinder. And that cylinder has way too many sides. So we'll change this down to like 18. Yeah. So now we'll go G and Z, bring this up. Just get it out of our way. Yeah, let's bring it up a little higher. And we're going to tab into this and grab faces. And we'll just go Z so we can see through it, and B to grab all these. Delete faces. Alright, now we got this. Let's unselect. We'll just start cutting them. So we use K, and we'll drag across to each side. Now we got our lily pad pizza, and what we're going to do is we're going to take, before we do that, let's go to vertex, and what I'm looking at my other monitor here is that a lily pad looks a little bit like this. Maybe like that, since we're going low poly. Yeah, I'm down with that. Alright, and then we're going to grab faces, and we're just going to cut out a face here, boom, like that, because lilies have that for some reason. And then we'll go tab out to object, A everything, and hit Control H, but I meant to hit Alt H. And then we'll go, and we'll bring this down, and that's close enough. Control Shift C, origin to 3D cursor, and we can scale it up. Boy. Okay. So that's good. And let's bring this up a little because we want it to be hidden under the pad. Like so. Yeah, we're straight going lily. Alright. The funny thing about lily pads, the flower grows off to the side. Like it kind of grows like that. And we'll hide this real quick. We'll get back on the lily game. And we'll grab all these. Like that. I don't know if them are the ones. Yeah. We'll bring them up. Like that. We'll get some lily contour up in there. Now we could get crazy with it. Let's try something here. I'll do like that one, and that one, and that one. Kind of looks like an iron cross. Okay. So now, let's do something else cool. This, and Shift D it, and bring it up a little bit, scale it down, and we'll get over top of it with 7, and we select both of these. And then if we go into our tools, and we hit Tab to go back into edit mode, we can see an option here called Knife Project. So we'll hit that, and we'll delete this one, and then we go like that, and look at that. Let's scale it out a little. And we'll bring it down. Give us some, yeah boy, that's lily right there. Look at that. I'm digging it. Okay, so now let's just add some color to this as we go along. And we're gonna hit a new color. Did I already have some colors made? I did. I already had a material. We'll call this green 1. Alright, and then the flower itself, let's go AA, tab out, so we're in object mode, AA, and Alt H to bring it all back. Alright, but I'm liking that lily pad. Look at that thing. That thing is sweet, low poly lily pad, man. So now what we need to do is we need to unselect and hide this, and we'll take all of this. I just had to move it off the center to look at it. Trying to think of the most efficient way to get it back. Best thing we can do is probably just merge it together for now. So let's control, nope, we can't do that because we have modifiers. So let's make a duplicate of one of these. See, this is problem solving 101, and which is what you're basically always doing. And we'll move this out of the way with G and X. And we're going to just select all this, and I'm going to use this sculpt tool I have here to apply all my modifiers on these. Now we can take all these, and we can Control J and bring them all into one object like a boss. Now their origin set to the center. We want to go Shift S and selection to cursor. Bam, right back in the center. That's what we wanted. And now what we can even do, if we want, we just go like this. We select everything, just P, and selection by loose parts. And now they're all separated again. And so that's how we solved a problem right there. Okay, so we want to add, I'm looking at a lily pad picture, and the flowers don't really look like this, but I was inspired. So I'm just kind of going with it, and this will be our own little custom lily pad. And so what we have here in the center of a real lily is like yellow flower with a lot more detail than you have on these outer leaves. So we could probably use this, and let's duplicate it just because we might need more of these. We probably will. Alright, and we're going to take all this, and we're going to hide this, and we're going to bring this back over here, and we'll just go, we'll hit N1. That's where we want to be, front view. Alright, and we'll go GX and bring this in because we want it here, and Control Alt Shift C and origin to 3D cursor. So remember, we can have control of it, there on that center, which is what we want. So now we're going to try and make this inner flower part, which is a little bit more narrow, and that's really pretty much the only difference. Let's hide this one. So we'll go here. What's going to happen is we're going to get distortion problems when we start changing this. So we're going to need to get rid of our modifier here, because if we check our mesh analysis, we're going to not be able to see it. Alright, so as you can see, it just appeared again. Alright, so let's grab these. Let's turn back on our proportion editing, and we'll stick with smooth, and we're going to scale it. And as you can see, we're already ruining our beautiful crafted thing here. And we're gonna like that. Alright, then we'll have to make these fixes. So we're gonna grab vertex again, and starting from the bottom, we'll go G and X. Oh, turn off that proportional editing. No, not you. And we'll go along the Y. And we can already see that we're starting to have some differences in the two sides. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna work with one side because I ain't playing that game. So we'll just go GX. And bam. and GX. Where you at, bro? Oh. Right there. Okay, yeah, I'm cool with that. And now we're gonna grab faces, and we're just gonna be like, boom, hit delete, faces, like that. And then we're gonna slap on a mirror here, boom, and like that. That's how we roll. And you can't apply it in edit mode, so we're gonna switch back out. Make sure these all merged well. I like to check, like so. And then you can also just hit AA and W and remove doubles. And we didn't have any. Sweet. Alright, so this will be our inner part here. It's a little bit slimmer and a little different. So yeah, I'm cool with that. Now let's just hit AA to grab everything in the scene and Alt H to bring it back. Alright, now, actually, let's go like this real quick. And bring that up. It's all annoying me. And we're going to hide this again. And bring that back down. Alright, and press 1. And now, we want to bring this to here. Control-Shift-C, origin to 3D cursor, like that. Alright, now, the reason I want to do that is because I want to rotate it back a little. Probably good, but if not, we'll be okay to fix it now. Alright, so AA to select everything, Alt-H. Yes, it was good. We'll bring this up a little so it's not running in the bottom there. Alright, now we're just going to continue doing what we did for the outside part. And I think by looking at it, the inner part is usually a little lower, so we can scale it down. It's also smaller. And we'll bring it out here, Control-Shift-C, origin to 3D cursor, like so. And we still have our bush center, so we can use that for our mirror. We're going to add modifier and mirror, and we're going to say bush center, and yaddy daddy, looking good. And now we're going to Shift D and get rid of that for this one because it's annoying. And we're going, where are we going? We're going negative. No, we're going to 0. So we'll go to 0, like so, and mirror along the Y. And we want some up in them 45s too, because this is like an inner flower. So Shift D to duplicate, turn this off for now, and we're going negative 45, so negative 45, bam. And actually, if you look at that, we're colliding. Yeah, we don't want that. So let's go back and move it along the Y-axis out just a hair. Yep, like that. And we're gonna go to the negative 45. Negative 45, I can never remember that stuff. Okay, and now we should be able to mirror along the X and the Y. And we're still colliding a little, but we can fix that with a little bit of this and a little bit of that. What do you know? That's looking pretty cool. Now, we need to get a few more of this whole action going, right? So, why not, let's just make a copy of one of these, turn off the mirror so we have it like we have with the other one. And did I not make a copy? Come on, bro, what am I doing? Shift D to make the copy, and then move that out, like so. Bam. Alright, now we're going to take all these, and we're going to use our sculpt tool, which you may or may not have, to apply all our mods. If you don't have it, you should have it. What's wrong with you? Shift D to duplicate, and scale this down, and bring it up a little. Oh, yes. You know what I'm saying? We're going to do it again. Shift D to duplicate, scale it down, bring it up a little. Boy, that is straight lily. And you know what we can do? We'll just grab, this is kind of annoying. I hate having to do process like that. Yeah. Let's see if we hide that. Yes. And we'll hide that. We'll hide that. And we'll, not A, grab that, bring that down. AA, Alt H. Yeah, I like it there. And we are lilied up right here. So let's try and do something to make our lives a little easier. Let's just go back to where I had that hidden. And then let's grab this and we'll merge it now. What's wrong with you? Do you have mods? Apply mods. Control J. There we go. Alright. So Control J merged all those, and we're just going to be like, boom. No, not that. We're going to go here. We want to make a new one. We're going to call this yellow, just because. And of course, remember when you're naming stuff, if you're making it for a game, you might want to be smarter than that. Specular. Okay, so now let's go AA and bring it all back. And the outside is like a pink. So for now, we'll just Control J to merge these. Yep, that's all them. And we'll go pink. And we'll get a pink up in here. There we go. Alright. So there you have it. Some lily pads that you could use in game. Let's just talk about finalizing anything. So if we want to bring it in the game, we want to have them all as one object, right? So we click, shift click, and then we would Control J to merge that whole thing together, right? So that would be one game object. You only need one, obviously, guys. I'm just making a little scene here. And you only need one of these lily pads too, because you would then go ahead and resize that in your game engine, and you would just have one of these and you'd resize that in your game engine. So these would both be exported separately. And like I said in one of the earlier tutorials, we're only doing the material method for our colors. So as you can see here, this object has pink and yellow on it, and this one has green on it. And if we were just doing material only, then we could also change those material colors in Unreal Engine 4 later on. So that about sums it up for this material, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like the video. And in the next video, we'll go over creating animations for this little leaf structure and maybe even the lily pad. You know how this works. Subscribe, like, follow. You can support me on Patreon. Peace out.